Hi, I'm Dan and welcome to episode 64 of the Elements Dev Diary. Now, this is the fifth Dev Diary of the week, and thankfully it's the last one. Now, we've revealed a lot of stuff this week, shipped a beta, and I've got a few more things to show you today. Next week, we're hopefully going to look at the form finally, because I know a lot of you are waiting for that. Don't know if it will ship next week, but we'll show you, we'll give you a little insight. So that's the plan for next week. But right now, I want to show you what changes we've made based on your feedback. So we shipped the accordion. Let me just go back over here. We shipped the accordion, the filter, and the filter tag components, and we've already had some great feedback from you guys on that. And we've made some changes already. So the first change I want to show you is with the tags. We had a lot of people saying, well, I want them to work differently because currently they kind of work with multiple selection and all. So this whole query bit here is new. So if we go and view this in the browser, right now this will show all the results. Let me just switch that to any. That's better. That's what we wanted, any. This is the way it currently works, that you can press any of these and they all add up together. So that's kind of, I've selected all of these and they're showing all the highlighted options. So that's the way it currently works in your build. But as I said, we've added these options, so now you can change the way it works. Personally, I like the single mode, and if we go and view that, that means I can only press one of these at a time, and the other ones will deselect, or the other one will deselect. So this is quite nice. This just lets me press one of these, so you can't do multiple select there. So that's, I do like that mode. So go back to multiple and you've seen the any, where it will show you results from all of the tags you've got clicked. And then if we go to all, it means it wants to match all of them up. So it'll only show you records that match all of the ones you've pressed down. And at the moment, all of these have only got a single tag on them. So if I select two tags, nothing is visible, because it's not tagged twice. So we can fix that. Let's select this one here and we'll go to the tags. Now this one's membership and this one's tagged open hours. So what we could do is we could add another record on this one and we'll call this one open hours as well. So now when I go back to this preview, I can select membership and we just see one, and open hours, and it's just this one that is tagged with both of those. So open hours, all these three, click membership, and it's only this one that we added the extra tag to. So this is really flexible, and I think that gives you all the options people wanted in the forum, you guys, the feedback you gave us. So that's there. Now the other option I wanted to show you that we've added, people wanted a way that when the page was loaded, the accordions were open, because right now they're all shut. So if we wanted this first accordion open, I could select it and I go to the settings, and the default state, I can switch it to open. So let's go and view that. And now you can see when the page loads, that top option is open. And if I wanted this one open down here, I can do the same on here and keep that one open as well. So this is really flexible. You can set this up the way you want. You can have them all shut, a particular one just open, or you could have them all open, which is a bit crazy. I'm not sure why you'd want to do that, but you could. So yeah, so that, again, that's another option we've added based on your feedback. So thanks for that, because sometimes we kind of overlook these options, you know, when you're building it for yourself. It's not something I thought I needed. So this whole feedback loop works really well. We ship a beta, you let us know what you like, what's missing, and then hopefully if it's a good idea and we can do it, then we implement it. Yeah, and then we move on to the next thing. So I wanted to talk about, we're going to get a little bit more technical here. And if you build components, custom components, dev components, this section is really for you. If you're a general user, you might find this interesting, but we're going to look at the new collections feature. Now we're using collections on these tags. Now I know I said, oh, we've added this new control, and some people took this to be, oh, you've added a new tags control, but it's not. This is collections, and these are really powerful and flexible in the fact they allow you to add any type of control in here to the record. So a record can have multiple items. So I think the best way to show you what this new control means for elements is to show you some examples. I haven't got too many examples to show you because we're just building out things, and we're going to be using this feature in a lot of our upcoming components, namely the form, because it will be great for listing out items in a drop down select menu. But let's have a look at some examples. So here I'm using a collection again, but instead of just a single name or a single title, I've got a URL and a background color set on it. And so if I add a new record, and we'll call this one Real Mac Software, and you can see it being added here, and we could change the background on this record, and we'll change the hover state as well. That's looking good. And we could set up a link in here as well. I'll just link to the home page, and I can move this around by using these arrows, so we can move Real Mac up to the top. But I can add as many of these records as I want. So this is really flexible. Now, this is just an example linked list that we've built to kind of show this off, but you could put whatever controls you want in here. You can have images, borders, things like that. But these are all separate records. So it's kind of like having a little mini database. So this is really powerful. Here's another example. It's not quite finished yet, but it was an idea for some movie reviews, that you could have a list of movie reviews. So I can add another record down here, and let's add Coco in there. So you can see here, and I can just say, we'll call that Coco, and the year, I don't know what year it was, but 2012. Let's just put Pixar in there, and I could have some text, and we could change the background color and the hover state. Haven't implemented that yet, but you can see here this has got different, this has got a bigger text box, and it's got an image, and you can add as many of these things as you like, you know. So it's really flexible on what you can build. Now I wanted to show you, I've got a table example I was building as well. Now these are all just kind of tech demos, nothing's finished here, these aren't finished, but it's to show you that you could build lots of different things with this. So these collections that are available for you to use as if you're building components, I think they're going to play a really big role in future components that we build and that third parties build. But I also think if you are building sites for clients, or maybe you have maybe you're regularly building sites for clients, there's a couple of things. You could build your own custom components for laying out data like this, or if you're letting them manage the site, you can give them custom components to do these tables like this, or whatever else you want. You know, there's loads of custom solutions you can build here with this. So here I've built this table, and what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go over to the code editor and just kind of show you how these collections are put together. Let me get Nova up, because that's my code editor. And oops. And I also want to go over to the browser just to show you. We've got some docs on this. So if you are building dev components, you'll want to check out the docs. So if I go over, I've got the forum. We've got the element docs button at the top there. Always good to remember that, so you can always get to the manual. You want to look under elements language, and there's under elements pack, there's a collections area. And we go over some of the details in here. Now, I'm not going to cover everything in this video, but this will tell you how to set up your collections and what files you need to make this all work. Now, thankfully, we've also uploaded an example to GitHub, which is linked again on the collection page. You can go click on this, and then you can go to the repository in GitHub, and we've got an RW Elements dev packs, and we're slowly adding new components here, dev components that you can download, have a play around with, and see how they're built. And we've got a collection example here. So if you want to see how it all works and have a dig around with the code, then you can get it from GitHub. So let's go back to here to my table example. And this is, if you've built a dev pack before, this will be looking pretty familiar because we've got our, I've called mine table collection.element dev pack. And we've got our usual setup, which is an info.json file, which you set the version, the author, and the identifier. So mine's com.acme.tablecollection. This would be your, it's a reverse domain. So for our RealMac software ones, we have com.realmacsoftware. Whatever the name of the component is. So we've got this in our pack, and then in our components folder, this is where we add our components. So I've got my, because we could have multiple components per pack, but I've just got one component in here, and that's just called table. So we can open this up, and here we have all the usual files. We have a templates folder, which is generally where the HTML comes from. We've got the properties JSON, which is how we build out these controls. And we have the info.json list again, and this is how we set up the details for our component. So this is the unique identifier for my component, and the title is called table, you can see it there, and the group I want it to appear in is content. Now let's go over here. So you can see that appears under the content group, and if I wanted that to appear somewhere else in one of these other groups, I can just change that there. So that's that. And let's have a look at our index file before we go and look at the collections. So in here, I'm generating the table, and at the top, it's very simple. This at the top here, I have some 3 columns, and I can double click in and rename these because these are editable text areas. And then down here, this is where we start getting into the collections. I'm just looping through the rows collection, and I'm outputting the data. So for every record we have in our component, in our little collection, it will loop through this and do a spit out this HTML plus the data for each row. Now, where's it getting this all from? Well, that would be from our collection up here. So to add, let me select it. To add this collection, you're going to need a collections folder, and then you can have multiple collections in a component. I've just got one called rows, and then again you need your identifier for it, and you need a properties file to build up the properties in here. Now in this table example, I've just got three text boxes. So you can see there, column 1, column 2, column 3, and we'll add a 4th in a minute. So again, I'm not going to go over all the little details in this, but you will be able to download this from GitHub so you can have a look. If you're already building dev components and you kind of know what you're doing, you can download this and have a look and kind of play with it and go from there. You will need a hooks file as well. Just don't forget that if you're building a collection into your component, because you need to pass through the collection to elements so it knows about it. So that's why you can just copy this and paste it into a hooks file, into your own hooks file. Now, let's just extend this example a little bit, because I'm thinking, well, actually, I probably want 4 columns in this example. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take, we've got our 3 columns, and let's move that down just so we can see what's going on up there. I'm going to copy this, because I just want another one of these, paste it in, and now we'll call this one column 4. So very simple changes, and when I save, it's going to update our component, and you can see we've now got 4 columns, which is great. And I give it some data, and that one's super. So we've given it some data, but it's not appearing in here, and that's because we need to update the template. So let's go over to templates, and we're just going to need 1 extra column, which we're going to need here, but we also need a header as well. So I'm going to copy this, paste that in there, and we'll call this one 4 and column 4. And now when I save, we should get a 4th column on our component with our data in it. So let's save this. Boom, elements has noticed the change, updated, and there it is. And now we've got 4 columns, and I can double click in here. And there we go. And that's you can put a feeling in there. So super and great. So it's as easy as that, you know, and I could go through and add as many of these columns as I wanted. And I could add other controls in here as well. Like we saw with the movie reviews, I've got a image, I've got a link and some colors, but anything that is available in here, you can set as on a collection. So, you know, if I wanted custom border types or something on each entry, then I could do that. So it's really, really powerful stuff. And there's going to be a lot of use cases for this, and we know we're going to use this a lot. So this is just really the start of it. And I know we've had some feedback on, oh, this isn't the way I want to view my collections, like this with these little buttons here. But this is just the start. We've got some really nice ideas on how to view the data and how you might manage that rather than using these little buttons. But this is just for now, just to get it working and just so we can start building the controls, because we needed this stuff for the forms, which you'll see next week, hopefully, when if we manage to get that finished off enough to show you. So yeah, so, you know, this is a great little table here for my own personal site. If I wanted to build something, or for the RealMax site, I could really imagine using this, you know. And if I want to add more records, I just hit the plus button, and I can add as many rows in this table as I like. Let's delete a few of those. So there, so yeah, you know, and I just do it like this. Really good stuff, really good stuff. And I can go through and add as many tables as I need. Customize that how I like, put in whatever I need. Really great stuff. And if you're a developer, one last thing before we go, we've got a debug panel now, which you can find by right clicking in these headers, because, you know, we can rearrange the workspace. So I go to my favorite workspace there, which is nice. And now I've got all these panels, and what I can do is let's add the debug panel here. And what I could do, let's move these back. And when I'm coding, you know, I could set this up as my component editor. So this is the debug log here, and this will show, you can print things out to this when you're developing your component, and it will show if you've got an error. So for example, if I go back over to Nova, and perhaps I'm in my hooks file and I'm doing some stuff, blah, 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 got an error there, save the component, and boom, it's telling us, you've got an error. So let's fix that up, save the file, boom, there you go, and we're now all clear. So this just, you know, that's just printing out letting you know that it's updated there. And as I said, you can print things out to that as well. So if you've got values that you don't necessarily want to put in here, you can print out to see how it's working while you're building your component. Is really useful. So there we go. Let me close that one out. I don't need that. Yeah, lots of great stuff. We've got some, we've added some more stuff to this. Got some things to show you next week. I'll save that for next week. I'm not going to demo it now. I'll leave it here. But yeah, thanks for all your feedback so far. It's been, what a week it's been, with so many great additions to Elements, and we've got more great stuff to come. So thank you for all your feedback. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. Cheers. Bye.